Gosh, I hate loose, floppy meat. It never fits right.
Tyler. Check this out.
What's this?
Replacement for your bone.
Wow, that really looks good. It elongates and gives structure to all the meat, eliminates shifting and moving while you're packing out.
This is a way to keep your meat elongated. You're not riding at the bottom of your pack. It keeps the structure there, the airflow, your back gets hot. That meat's really crucial to stay cool. Clean, cool, and dry is what we try to do. So when in doubt, bone out.
Game Stix, we're gonna go through all the ins and outs of it, the multifaceted uses of it. Here we go.
So Game Stix is a bone replacement for your quarters. The whole system weighs about 10 ounces. It's super lightweight, easy to pack. You can remove that bone if you have to bone out, whether you bone out in pieces or whole. You can use this Game Stix to replicate that bone inside that quarter, keep it elongated. You have structure. The rigidity's there when you're packing it out. That meat sack, that meat ball that you have if you have to debone isn't hanging at the bottom of your pack. Works really well with hot conditions. So September, backcountry conditions where it's super deep, you're in there, you're far, and you gotta make loads out. So the backcountry hunter is definitely gonna capitalize from this system. It packs super easy. Each post slides in one another. So they're micro adjustable if you have to use them for something else, but that's how they come out. One post marries to a hook. So all you gotta do here is seat it in there. They have collars here that just automatically go to the depth of the hole on the Game Stix. So you take your 1/4-20 screw, seat it in, screw it on, and it's that easy. They come with a 275-pound tensile strength paracord, also usable for your D-loop if you're ever in a pinch. Super easy, made for most tree limbs that are 4 to 6 inches, anything you can hang it from or reach. This right here is a replica we made of the Game Stix in a quarter. This is your shank meat, your hook, and this is your bone in. So you're shedding about 14 pounds roughly. It could be 10 pounds to 14, anywhere in that quarter length, whether you shoot a cow. They work great for mule deer. You can take 2 shoulders or a rear and a shoulder and pair them up, put them on each side. And we have these thread and needle systems right here. So what you do is you just tie your back side right here in a knot, and that will get stuck in your hole here. And all you got to do is just push it through one side, the tack in the bottom to make it rigid, not have it fly out, and then just send it through one more time. Pick a spot on the meat, usually up top, and send it back through, and then you just cinch it in there like that, and you're done. So,
and that keeps it rigid, so you don't have all of the meat piled up in the bottom of your pack. Once you get your animal quartered out, you deboned it. If you were to put all that meat into a game bag, it all piles up, and then you end up with hot spots in there.
Exactly.
And this allows you to still do that, but keep everything elongated so it's not about a big pile of mush, and then it's also more air circulates around it so it cools off faster.
Exactly.
So hotter climates, early season, when you're running the risk of spoiling, bone souring, you can use this. Do you get more airflow with this through the middle with all the holes in it?
Yeah, this perforated pipe, basically your ambient air temperature outside is the coldest this meat's ever gonna get.
Right.
So if it's 40 degrees outside, your meat's gonna acclimate to 40 degrees, but it's gonna take a little while to get there.
Right.
So once you remove that bone, if you have to, if you have a long pack out or want to, you don't wanna pack out the heavy weight, you can expect this to take that temperature and either funnel it in or funnel it out, however it's gonna work quick. What I really like about it too is we've tested aluminum versus carbon. That was a big question. Carbon's lightweight, it's strong. Aluminum in shade with wind blowing actually stays up to 10 degrees cooler than the ambient temperature outside.
Okay.
So it kind of acts like a heat sink. So electronics or RC cars or whatnot, they put a heat sink on them to dissipate that heat. The same thing with this Game Stix. It's gonna grab that heat and it's gonna kick it out of there. And you're basically just building your quarter back to this post. And it is lights out. It's secure to it. Your backpack is super rigid and you have everything you need in order to have that bone-in thought into your rear quarter.
And this bone, what you're pulling out is roughly 13 pounds.
Roughly.
Versus
This whole setup right here is 4 ounces.
4 ounces.
Yeah.
So you're shaving almost 13 pounds of weight for each pack out.
Right.
Which then you can either pack more meat or you're just that much less fatigued when you get back to the truck.
Yeah, every step counts, right? We all know how it is getting out of a drainage. And
especially if you're in deep and early season, you're risking bone sour on your meat.
Right.
So time is of the essence. Faster you can get it cooled off, the better. Yep. And the faster you can get it back to the truck, the better.
We don't really practice taking pieces of meat off the bone. We try and keep the whole quarter intact how it is.
Right.
You know, less to manage, less bacteria getting on the meat.
Right.
And then what happens also, and you know, this is a good point to how these work so well. If you do piece it out, if you don't know how to fillet that bone out, and there's tons of YouTube videos out there to show you, but you can use this thread and needle and just make a meat tree out of it. You can just tack in the major parts. You can put your back strap over that top hook, take your roast meat, your neck meat on here, your hams down here, and recreate that quarter or something manageable that you want to pack out with the ease of this thread and needle. Okay. So this is a huge advantage having this.
So you could also use this to do all of your loose meat one pack versus like half the time you're shoving it into a different pack, whatever. But you could essentially make a 5th quarter with all of your loose meat.
Exactly.
And it'd be similar.
Yeah. Another thing I really like about it is this last year, we were able to take our game bags off our quarter and clean up as much as we could. Cut off anything that we didn't want on there. Clean it off, pat it down, keep it dry. Clean, cool, dry is the 3 things you want to typically stick with.
Yes.
And so we take that game bag off, and if you debone and you don't have this ability, you're reaching in there and you're pulling it all out.
Right.
You want to really rotate that meat. The inside meat needs to get that airflow that the outside meat's getting, and you need to get in your game bag if you're hanging it over a couple days, if you're in a camp with guys and you're hanging your meat, you really want to rotate that meat. So now you don't have to. You have it all elongated, air's getting to it completely, and the game bag should actually work in a way our t-shirts work.
Right.
You know, you put a really tight t-shirt on, it's hot. The sun's hitting directly on it. Hopefully we don't have sun on our meat. But if you have your game bag up here, it's loose. It's shedding any heat that's hitting it. It's working as it should. So airflow is huge.
I saw you hook this on. This one's just tied up like we would normally. Yep. And you got to fiddle around with a knot, which is a pain in the butt to do, especially when you're by yourself.
One hand on the quarter, one hand throwing it over.
Trying to like tie a knot awkwardly. So show us how you do this.
This is just how I do it. Is I just hold this meat up here by your top paracord. There's a hook system right here, and you just got to walk it up to a limb, drape it over, and hook it on and walk away.
Perfect.
So it's super quick,
super easy.
And if you use paracord to hoist it up, if you're in Grizz country or whatever, you know, you can just hook it onto here and pull it up. This 1/4-20 screw that we have that connects the hook to the post here, we made it versatile so you could really utilize it for lightening your pack up. If you don't want to carry a tripod and you want to have some kind of stability, what you can do is marry your 2 posts. It's just a snap spring stainless steel. This is 70-75 aluminum, super strong. You can marry the 2 and bury the bottom of this into here. You send your 1/4-20 screw through here, and then you take your other one, because you run them in sets of 2 for 2 quarters, and you put it up here. And now you can hook your bino attachment up to your...
Okay, so that will screw into
any bino attachment.
Any bino attachment.
Or same 1/4-20 screw.
Okay.
So then you can, you know, if you're sitting on, you know, the ground or a rock or whatever, you can use this as a monopod. Yeah, and have some stability if you're going to run it that way.
Or camera.
Yep.
Anything that has that 1/4-20 on the bottom.
Yep. Some guys reverse the hooks because you can switch those hooks around, and they'll take one hook this way, and they'll hook their backpacking camp so it's not in the mud, hook their water bladder so they can get a drip system out of it. So it's a versatile tool, and that kind of floats us into our other stuff here. Game Stix is sold in a set of 2. And that's mainly for running meat. You know, you got to take a quarter off, bring it back, or you have a guy with you, you can take 2 quarters off. We married 2 of these hook systems together and did a quick attachment for your stabilizer. So if you don't want to carry your hook and you're just going to carry this as a, you know, your post system, really easy to put in your pack. And now you can run your stabilizer with your hook. So this is just a quick attachment up front. You can take the 2 threads off right here. That comes off. Same with this one.
This is, you have your weights for your stabilizer up front.
Yep, it comes with your different length screws for the front, so you can add 4, 3, however many.
4, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's about 12 inches long when you have it hooked in there, which is what a lot of guys run for hunting stabilizers.
Exactly. So another cool feature that we have for it is, we kind of touched on this earlier today when we were shooting, when you're out shooting me. We really like the idea of being hands-free when you're walking around. So usually that would be on here, but you can hook this right on your pants and you're hand-free. And you can glass, pick it up, you got a little handle. When I'm shooting just at the house, I just slide in my back pocket, pull my arrows. I don't really bring my...
Don't have to set your bow in the mud.
I don't bring my limbs up there to set my bow like this.
Okay.
You know, it's not really needed. So now that I have that, it's, you know, a handle to carry it, and you're just packing less stuff.
Yeah.
So
what else can you use this for besides hanging your meat?
funny you touched on that. We are coming out with a tent post, and it's an illuminated tent post. It's a gear tent post for your tent. So what you have here is your base, is what we call it. So you have a coupling on the bottom, coupling on top, and it's illuminated throughout the whole entire post. So you run your setup of 2, and you can run this as your tent post.
Say instead of using a trekkie pole inside your tent,
Exactly.
you would use this.
Yep.
Or if you have like a teepee style tent, you could use this instead of the tent pole.
Exactly.
And then it's multi-purpose, so you're not just packing this around just for when you get meat.
Yeah.
This is a purpose built for other things in the backcountry while you're hunting, and then once you get something down, then it turns into the meat sticks, and away you go.
Exactly. So we've had guys that ran this setup even if they had a normal size or a normal tent with multiple tent poles and an infrastructure. They liked it for the illumination and for the gear. Your footprint of your tent is completely cleaned. You know, you have your boots hanging, your jacket, if you're wet, your food, your water, whatever. Everything that you have in your tent, you can just hang from these perforated holes on here, and it sits just like that. It's micro adjustable, so it fits almost every tent in the industry. It slides, you go down, you need to go down a little bit further.
It's like infinitely adjustable.
Exactly. And it's super easy, and what we really like is this feature. Now you can just run your
USB lights up, and it's just one long light strip in there.
Waterproof light strip that's tacked to the inside of this thing. Doesn't add any weight. We're gonna have both style of plug-ins for your adapters.
USB and USB-C.
Exactly.
Nice.
So you're gonna have both options. When you're in a tent and it's dark outside, it's too bright. You're like, oh my gosh, I can see everything.
Yeah.
So it's for that night where you get in and you want to hang stuff up and clear your tent out. This is, I mean, absolutely, it's super lightweight too.
It would be something you could hook your socks on, pull your whatever got wet throughout the day, gloves, that sort of thing. Let it dry out, let it air out.
We're gonna have one more feature that comes out for it. For me, I don't know about you, but in the middle of the night when I wake up, I'm a little lost. I'm like, where are my binoculars? Where's my flashlight? Where's my pistol? And I'm kind of lost in direction sometimes. These couplings are gonna be glow in the dark. So they're gonna capture all your ambient lighting from outside, all that UV light, and they're gonna hold enough charge to at least give you a sense of direction when you open your eyes.
So you can fumble around and find this and turn it on.
Find anything, you gotta get out of your tent, you know, for any reason. You gotta get in your backpack. All you gotta do is look for the glow in the dark coupling, get to your post, turn it on, you're good to go.
Cool.
Yeah.
How tall of a pole does this get to?
This can be as tall as you want. So these are all interchangeable. So if you have a higher setup, you can get a setup that, you know, fits your 57-inch tent and it works perfect. If you need to go higher, all you need to do is just get an extra post, flip it around, snap spring in, and you can go higher.
Nice.
It's so easy to use. I can't stress enough that, you know, when you're back there in the backcountry and you're putting miles in for 4 days and you finally get an elk down, the real work sets in. Your clock starts. And if you weren't able to find that animal quick, if you are in a September temperature condition and you think about getting that meat out, it can be daunting to some people. You're
for
far,
sure.
You're tired, you're cashed out, your legs are done. Every pound counts. You know, every step that you take is harder and harder until you get all that meat off the mountain. You know, there's really no stopping. You can't really just take a break. You got to get that meat off the mountain and cool it down quick. So this is just an all-around lightweight setup that you can take that bone out super quick, super easy, and replace it with something that weighs ultra light and is versatile.
I really like the feature of being able to hang your meat without having to tie knots. Every time I go to hang meat, I'm always fumbling around with the stupid
picking one up.
Trying to hold it, trying to tie a knot.
Yeah.
That thing's super sick right there. I do think that the added benefit of being able to use a pole, I've used several different tents that use the Trekkie poles, but I also want my Trekkie poles with me when I'm going out, so I don't like leaving them in my tent. This would be something that you could potentially leave in your tent and then come back and get it for packing out quarters. Once you know, you bring some meat back to your base camp or whatever, grab these to start hauling the rest. Super cool design, super lightweight. I think that would be really good, especially for those early season rifle seasons. You don't have to worry about your meat spoiling as much.
Right.
It still would cut down on the amount of weight you're packing out. However, you may not need it for the meat cooling as much.
Yeah, for that late style hunt, this is just a pure reducing weight style tool. And for these guys that are getting back there so far, and I think social media or YouTube or whatever has created this perception that, hey, anyone can go back there and get an elk off the mountain.
Right.
And I don't think they really know what they're in for until they see that animal.
For sure. Every time you walk up to an elk, you realize how big it is.
Yeah.
And then you cut that thing down. It can be daunting. And even for me, like, if I'm by myself and I've got a full elk to pack out by myself, it's a big task.
Right.
And being able to limit the amount of weight each trip would be huge and would help me be able to do multiple trips faster.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly.
100%.
Yep. Thanks for having me on here, man. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Yeah, it's a new thing. It's a little pioneering a new bone out method. So
yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
Super unique. I've never seen anything like it before. I really like the versatility of it. Anytime you're in the backcountry, if you have something that can do multiple different things, it's going to cut down your total weight of your pack versus having one thing that's a single purpose. Every time you can do multi-purpose items, it cuts your total weight down. Where can we find your products?
www.game6outdoors. That's a YouTube channel as well, and the Instagram handle.
And we'll put all of the links for all of that stuff in the comments. Just scroll down, find that stuff, go over there, check it out, subscribe to his channel, give him some love, and until next time, I hope you have an awesome adventure.